What if one of the greatest saints in church history was a woman who struggled with weakness, distraction, illness, and spiritual dryness, and still became one of the greatest mystics the world has ever known? That was Saint Teresa of Avila. Born in the year 1515 in Spain, Teresa grew up in a large religious family. As a child, she was imaginative, intelligent, and deeply moved by stories of the saints. In fact, she once tried to run away with her brother so they could become martyrs. That should tell you right away that Teresa was never ordinary. But like many saints, her early zeal did not mean an easy life. As she grew older, Teresa entered the Carmelite convent, but she struggled with illness, distraction, and a deep sense that her spiritual life was not as strong as it should have been. She wanted to love God completely, but she also found herself pulled in different directions. For years, she lived in a kind of interior battle. And yet, that battle became the beginning of something extraordinary. Teresa experienced profound spiritual awakenings that changed everything. One of the most famous moments in her life happened when she had a powerful encounter with Christ that opened her heart in a new way. From that point on, her prayer life deepened, and she became known for her incredible mystical experiences, visions, and her deep union with God. But Teresa was not just a mystic floating above the world. She was also practical, determined, and bold. She saw that the Carmelite order had grown relaxed and comfortable, and she felt called to reform it. That was not an easy task. Reforming a religious order is one thing. Reforming it from within while facing resistance is something else entirely. But Teresa did it anyway. She founded new convents, helped renew Carmelite life, and called her sisters back to simplicity, prayer, poverty, and silence. She believed that the soul must be rooted in God if it wanted true peace. One of Teresa's most famous works is the Interior Castle. In it, she describes the soul as a castle with many rooms, and the journey toward God as a movement deeper and deeper into the center where He dwells. It is one of the most beautiful images in all of Christian spirituality. Teresa understood that prayer is not just saying words, it is entering into relationship with the living God. She also wrote with honesty and clarity about prayer, suffering, temptation, and the struggle to remain faithful. Her writings are both deeply mystical and surprisingly practical. She knew the human heart well. Teresa often faced misunderstanding, opposition, and even suspicion. At times, her mystical experiences were questioned, but she remained steady. She trusted God, kept praying, and kept building. Her life reminds us that holiness is not about feeling perfect. It is about persevering through dryness, doubt, and weakness. Teresa knew that the spiritual life is often hard work, but she also knew that God meets us there. She once said, "Let nothing disturb you, let nothing frighten you, all things are passing away. God alone never changes." That line alone has comforted countless people for centuries. Teresa died in the year 1582, but her influence has never faded. She was later declared a doctor of the Church, one of the great teachers of the faith. Her life continues to inspire people who are trying to pray more deeply, live more faithfully, and seek God with their whole heart. So what does Saint Teresa of Avila teach us? She teaches us that prayer is a journey. She teaches us that the soul belongs to God. She teaches us that weakness does not disqualify you from holiness. She teaches us that reform begins with conversion. And she teaches us that even in the midst of struggle, God can lead us into deep intimacy with Him. If you feel distracted, Teresa understands distraction. If you feel spiritually dry, Teresa understands dryness. If you feel called to prayer but do not know where to begin, Teresa can show you the way. Saint Teresa of Avila, pray for us.